I want to move on, and I want to talk about the Flying Flamingo Sisters, which I absolutely enjoyed just this afternoon. Horse Girl was my weekend reading, and then this afternoon it was time for. I was like, oh, you know what? I've got the Flying Flamingos right here on the old phone. Let's give that a listen. So my son and I were building a marble toy together, and we just had that going. And, oh, wonderful, and something wonderful to entertain us while we build this marble contraption for him to roll the marbles around. Before we move on, though, I like to extend this opportunity, because I always try to do this show as if I were on an author podcast. What would I like to be asked? And is there a question that I haven't asked that no one's asked about Horse Squirrel that you wish someone would, because you'd love to answer it? And that's just kind of it's like a free blank check. Whatever question you like, let's pretend I ask it, but you go ahead and ask it.
Oh my gosh, you asked me so many good questions. I'm trying to, let me think. Oh, you know what? If you wanted to, that I haven't really talked too much about, is that I recorded the audiobook for Horse Girl. And I I had to audition to narrate the book. And I previously narrated the Flying Flamingo Sisters, but only as one character, one of the three sisters, because it was a multicast project. And Horse Girl, I was hoping that maybe we could record it as a multicast project when I auditioned, but they said no, it should just be one narrator. But once I auditioned, they cast me, which was really thrilling. And
Andy Samberg, who had also auditioned, was just crushed, I imagine.
Take that, Andy. That's so funny. It's so true. Sorry, Andy. Horse Girl's mine. But anyhow, the moment they cast me was the moment I realized that I had to create 15 character voices, because there are 15 or more characters in the book, and I wanted to make them distinct. And I've done voiceover for commercials and TV shows, but you get to, you're usually just doing one character, or if you're going to do two, you kind of do all of one voice and then the other. But when you're narrating an audiobook, you've got to be able to switch between them. And I realized that several of my scenes have like a dozen characters all, talking at some point in the chapter and talking to each other. And I was cursing myself, like, who wrote this thing? What do you think I am? A voice machine? So it was incredibly challenging. One of the hardest things that I've done, just in terms of switching between the voices and keeping them on point. And I'm sure I failed, like Willa the Horse Girl. I'm sure I fell on my face many times, but I gave it my all and I jumped hard. And I'm really proud that I did a whole book.
When you're narrating an audiobook, I assume you got an engineer cutting it together nicely for you. Or I'm throwing that term out like I know what I'm talking about. Somebody definitely edits the book and edits all that audio. So are you able to take a pause between characters and maybe put on one of those wigs that you had from way back when, if you need to really get into the spirit?
Oh man, I wish I had those wigs. That was what I was missing. If I'd only had my wigs. But yes, I had a director and I had a post-production studio. So every day, Scott Sherratt was my director, was my director. He's amazing. He's directed, oh my God, everyone, Mindy Kaling and Nelson Mandela and Malala, and she's directed everyone you could even imagine their audiobooks. So he's a total pro. Because of the pandemic, I couldn't go into the studio to record. I had to record in my closet at home. And I already had purchased some gear because I was doing some narrating work for Audible. And anyway, so Scott would be on Zoom or FaceTime or whatever, and we would set up the audio interface so he and his headphones could hear what was coming through my microphone. And he could give me notes. And yes, you can pause. I paused and stumbled, and anytime you We did what's called a straight record, which is wonderful because if you mess up, you just stop and start over and do it again. You don't have to like go back. There's another technique called, oh gosh, I think it's called punch and roll. I might have that wrong, but where if you make a mistake, you have to go back in and they sort of edit as they go, and you gotta like just jump in with that word that you messed up, and then they'll edit it in as they go, and that's very difficult. But a straight record is much easier. And yeah, if I messed up the voice, I would do some lines like those poor engineers, they hate me because I would do it like 10 times. I got
it's just keeps putting on wigs. This is getting weird. I know, right?
I know I feel so bad. Someone like is definitely, I made an enemy, let's just say.
No, because I'm sure the final product is incredible, and they're pleased to have been a part of it, and it makes up for anything that went along the way, I'm sure. Had you narrated full audio? I knew obviously you were in the Flying Flamingo Sisters. Had you narrated full audiobooks prior to yours?
Well, I had recorded books for the blind in LA as a volunteer project when I first moved to LA. I didn't know anyone. I didn't have any friends, and I spent a lot of Saturdays going into a little booth in Hollywood and recording textbooks for the blind. So I had done that, but I mean, no one was really checking it was kind of honor system, if you got the books right. There wasn't, you were recording yourself and doing all the production yourself. So I had done that. I had done voiceover for commercials. I played a chicken McNugget for McDonald's, and I had done some voiceover.
Your line is a chicken McNugget.
She was like, totally, you guys, I want some barbecue sauce.
And I saw you had also played once a sassy pickle. Is that correct?
Oh yeah. So yeah, I have a full range of snack food voices.